What's up, you guys? What's up with my head? So I think I should call these the car files. I just picked up Carson from school. You want to say hi? She had a long day. She's tired. We should talk about intuitive eating with her because she didn't eat her lunch again, but she was doing better. But I gave her, hi Kyla, I gave her chicken nuggets today, and that was a no-go. So on the food side, we talked to Carson last night, car files, and she always snores when she sleeps, and so I was like, I wonder if she's eating too much dairy, which she loves cheese. So she decided that she wanted to take a little break from cheese and see if that helped her breathe better. So we're gonna see. So there's my kudos to you guys. If my 5-year-old can do this, so can you. All right, you guys. So day 3 of intuitive eating. So day 1, we talked about my journey with macros. Yesterday I talked about what do we want the outcome to be from intuitive eating, like what are we trying to get to. So today, and Brandon and I had this long conversation at 4:30 in the morning, because that's what we do today, about rules and boundaries. So I've done videos on this before, but I really want to go back into this with specifics about food. So, and if you hear her in the back, that's her food. But so the thing about macros that so many people love is that it gives you some freedom, right? It takes things off the can't have list, theoretically, and gives you a little bit of freedom. But what actually happens with macros, I think for a lot of us, is we get too obsessed with it. So with intuitive eating, with boundaries and rules, so what are rules? So rules are things that keep you in a box. So to me, macros are rules. Calorie counting is rules. Being like, I only cheat on Saturday, I can't have this, I can have this, I have to eat at this certain time, I yada yada yada, like those are all rules. And guys, rules get broken. Like, that's just the thing about rules. Like, rules cause, bye lady, I love you, rules cause us to fail, right? Rules you can either be successful at or you can fail. Like, there's no in between. There's a yes or a no. They keep you in a box. Rules come from fear. Rules always come from fear. The fear that you're not going to lose the weight. The fear that you're going to gain weight. The fear that you're going to eat stuff that you don't want to. The fear that you're going to drive through Krispy Kreme and have 19 donuts. Like, whatever that fear is, rules come from fear. Rules come from our brains. We say this every time. She's talking to her orange. Sorry, guys. We say this every time. Like, rules come from fear, and fear comes from your brain. Okay? So intuitive eating is all about getting connected to your body and understanding the sensations that your body is giving us. And I think that's the hardest part probably for people in the beginning, is like, I don't have a visceral connection to my body. I don't know when I've overeaten until it's too late. I don't know what foods make me feel good, what foods make me feel not so good. I don't know what foods raise my vibe. I don't notice if things like cheese affect my breathing. We don't have a visceral connection to that. So that's the first thing we need to do, is we need to bring awareness. I'm totally all over the place, you guys, but we gotta have awareness to that stuff. Okay, so once we start to do that, then we can develop boundaries. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are pliable. Boundaries are fluid. Boundaries come from your body. So we're not just going to throw caution to the wind when we start intuitive eating and like not care what we're eating, because that doesn't make sense. Like, we're still eating for health, and we're still eating for being the best version of ourselves, and like that's not going to work if we're eating McDonald's, you guys. Let's just be real. We all know that. Like, we all know that vegetables and lean protein and good fats, like, we all know that stuff is good for us, and we all know that it makes us feel better. But when we put too many rules around it, then it makes us not ever want to do that. Okay, so my boundaries when I started, and this is stuff that I would kind of recommend for you guys if you want some guidelines, is eat 3 to 4 times a day. Okay, so some people eat 5, some people eat 6, I wouldn't do less than 3. Like, you need to have food spread throughout the day so that your metabolism is still working. There's still science behind this, you guys, right? Like, there's still science in what you're doing. It's just not being so restricted and so stringent on your rules. Okay, sorry, I have hiccups. So my boundaries are eat 3 to 4 times a day. I do base it though on how I feel. Like, some days, and I'm a snacker, I like to snack, and I'm okay with that. And when I go to just strict meals, then I get really bitter. But I also know that, like, when I'm snacking, it's not mindless. Like, I'm actually like, okay, I am hungry, or I'm this, or I'm that, whatever. So another boundary that I would always recommend is that every sitting you have protein, some kind of protein, some kind of carbohydrate, a good carbohydrate, like a fruit or a vegetable. Vegetables are always a win for all the micronutrients, and a little bit of fat, right? So that just keeps your body balanced. It keeps your hormones balanced. That's the other thing we want to realize, is that our bodies, there's so much hormonally that goes on. the thing I recommend people never do is like have a carbohydrate by itself, because on the hormone side, that releases insulin. Insulin tells your body to store. Okay, so if you're gonna have an apple, make sure you have something with it, right? Have a piece of string cheese, have something that's gonna slow down that insulin shot that you're gonna get. Okay, so for me, boundaries are eat 3 to 4 times a day. At every sitting that I have protein, I'm gonna have, try to have a good source of carbs. I'm going to eat until I'm satisfied. There's a difference between full and satisfied. And that's the other thing you have to learn is like, what does full feel like? What does satisfied feel like? What does like overfull feel like? So start to pay attention. Like, okay, satisfied should be like, okay, I'm good, right? Like I could eat some more, but I don't need to. Whereas like, overfull is like, oh God, I feel so terrible. And not satisfied is like, you still really want to eat something. So if you're eating and you still want more food, then go have some more food, right? And that's what you also have to learn is like, some people like little tiny meals all day. Some people do better with bigger meals spaced farther apart. Like you have to be your own science experiment. And that's why this is intuitive. There's no perfect answer for everybody, but you've got to be able to bring awareness to what you're doing, do it for a little while, and then see how you feel, right? So intuitive eating, you guys, I feel like is the next step past macros. Like if you have no idea what your body needs and you've never like counted macros or like have any idea of like the nutrient, what your body needs nutrient wise, this is going to be a lot harder, right? So intuitive eating, I feel like is a really good step for people that have an idea of what they need, how they feel. I was talking to one of my clients last night and she's like, oh my God, I think I just got it. Like, I know all the things. Like, I know that I need to eat protein. I know that I need to eat vegetables. I know I feel better when I do that. And it's that simple. Like, you guys, probably most of you know what's healthy and what's not healthy, right? Like, we all know, that we can't eat burritos and donuts all the time and feel the way we want to feel, right? So that's the other part, is when you're setting your boundaries, is how does that boundary affect the outcome? Okay, so if the outcome is a feeling, so if the feeling is I want to feel my highest vibration, or I want to love the way I look in the mirror, or I want to at least accept the way I look in the mirror, then you've got to go for that feeling. So then before you eat something, you've got to really be clear about what's the intention. Like, if I do this, is it going to take me closer or farther away from my goal? That's so simple, right? Like, we're doing 19.5 today. 4. I really want it to be over, apparently, because I keep saying 5. So, big CrossFit workout, right? So, it snatches, it's bar muscle ups, and a bunch of burpees. So, like, today, I'm like, okay, what does my nutrition look like so that my body is fueled for that, right? And, like, there are certain things that I eat sometimes that don't sit real well with me. I'm not going to eat those on a day that I have to go work out and want to really do well. So, what's the intention of the food you're eating? And then you have to love the outcome, right? So like I said yesterday, if your intention is you're going to enjoy a glass of wine to heighten the experience because you're on a date night with your husband or your wife or whatever, then that's awesome. If the intention is I'm going to drink a glass of wine to numb out because I stressed about life and I had a terrible day and I'm trying to ignore my family, that's different intention, right? So like, think about when you're doing stuff is like, what's your intention? Is it taking you farther away or closer to your goal? And then you have to love the outcome, right? So if you choose, let's just stay on the wine thing. If I choose to have a glass of wine, I have to love the outcome, not like the moment, but I have to love the fact that I might have a headache tomorrow. And if I drink wine on Friday night, I have to love that I didn't feel so great in my CrossFit workout on Saturday, right? So we have to take away the shame and the blame of like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. Because if you stop doing that and you force yourself to say, I will love the outcome of this, it's going to change your behavior more in what's in alignment with you. And then it makes it easier to make those decisions. So figure out what boundaries work for you, set healthy boundaries, and let them be pliable, okay? Boundaries get to flow. So if it didn't work today, you get to change, we get to choose again. I talked about this the other day. In life, choose again, choose again, choose again, choose again. Be your own experiment. What works for you? And some days are different, right? Like I always joke about rest day. On rest days, I'm freaking starving, so I eat more food. So set your boundaries, become aware of how you feel when you eat certain things, when you eat bigger meals, smaller meals. Play around with that and see how you feel. Bring awareness to that so that you have data, so that you know what to do. Think about the intention when you're eating. Okay, what's the intention of this? Is it taking me closer or farther from where I want to go? And then love the outcome. If you love the outcome, it's going to make it easier to make intuitive decisions, right? If loving the outcome of brownies is like, oh, I don't feel so good, and, whatever. Oh, gosh. I don't know what I just did. I'm doing weird things to my phone. Sorry, you guys. I was trying to fix it, but now it's terrible. But anyway, so that's what I have for you to do today, day 3. We've got day 4, day 5 coming your way, so let me know what your questions are. I hope this is sitting well with you, and if it doesn't make sense, just let me know, and I would be happy to clarify. So, also, details on my next flow program. So, flow, we incorporate all of this stuff. So, we're going to talk about emotionality, we're going to talk about nourishment, we're going to talk about movement, and we're going to talk about mindset and how you can master all of those things to be the best version of you. It's going to launch the end of May. I will get an application onto my website this weekend. So if you're interested in working with me or interested in that program, drop me a comment, drop me a DM, and let me know. I would love to help you guys. So hope you're all well. Have a great Friday. And if you're doing 19.4, have fun. All right, go bar muscle ups.